Hi there. Did you know there was a full-fledged first-person shooter released on the Sega Genesis? Well, there was. It's called Zero Tolerance. I'm going to take a look at that now. Don't really care about the story cutscene here. You can choose from several characters. There's no visual difference, obviously, because you're seeing from a first-person perspective, but they do have different specialties. This guy is a demolitions expert. Electronics, I'm going to go ahead and select the combat one. And as your characters die off, you select the other ones and continue where the other one left off, basically. So, as you can see, they did make some sacrifices here. I mean, it's impressive that they got this running on the Genesis at all. It did come on a special taller cartridge. I don't know if it might be something akin to the FX chip on the Super Nintendo. But yes, as you can see, there's a very small, very narrow field of vision here. Looks almost like what you might see looking out Boba Fett's view screen. Just very narrow. You can't see very far ahead of you. Anything more than a few feet out is very shadowy. And the graphics are probably less advanced than even the most ancient DOS first-person game, but still it runs at a decent frame rate. You have a little radar down below showing you part of the map, and any enemies show up as red dots. And the other information on the HUD is more or less useless. I mean, there's a big ID card down there that doesn't really contribute much. The control is a little bit awkward. I am using a PlayStation controller here, but I sort of feel like I'm driving a tractor after I've had a few drinks. The enemies move kind of quickly, like they're on roller skates or something, but even so, I'm not knocking it. I've played worse, definitely. Got the music turned off for this one. I've left the audio on, but very low. One of the annoying things about this game is that every time you pick up ammunition or a health pickup, this computer voice announces it to you. And to be fair, you can turn that off in the options menu. I elected not to do that here. So level 1 is not secured, and it won't be secured until you kill all the enemies. It is pretty difficult to tell from the map if you've been to a particular location before. This is set in a typical outer space backdrop. I don't really know anything about the story, I just kind of blasted through all that stuff. But yes, once you've killed all the enemies in a particular area, it becomes secured, and then you can take an elevator to the next area. I like how as basic as the graphics are on this, there are little sprites for blood on the wall, and there are some destructible environments. I've seen walls get damaged by, by enemy gunfire. All in all, I just wish the view screen was a little bit bigger, and the graphics were a little brighter. But I'm guessing this game was taxing the Genesis to its limits. See, right here I can see enemies moving in the distance, but I can't quite make them out. Oh no. Not sure why it switched me to my fists when I had a fully armed handgun. Whoa. When enemies are at any distance at all, it's actually easier to see them on the radar. As I mentioned earlier, you have several characters making up your team, and if you die with one character, you can select another, and all the enemies that you've already killed will still be dead. There we've got some wall damage and some blood splatter. The enemies don't seem to be able to open doors, well, especially when they're dead. Oh no. Strange inventory system. I don't know why it gives me my fists before it gives me my other gun. But whatever. There's no targeting reticle here, but the aim is pretty generous. As long as you have the gun pointed in their general direction, it seems to count. Yes, I will take that. Actually, it's kind of a bad idea to grab all the pickups, because you might die with one character, and you might want those things to be there later with another character. Where am I going? This controls a little bit awkwardly with a standard controller. You know, the mouse and keyboard are definitely better suited to a first-person game, but it's worth noting that you do have your full range of movements here. You can jump with the A button and the up arrow, and you can sidestep left and right by holding the A and pressing the left and right buttons, respectively. And you can also crouch. I'm not really sure what good that does, but you can do it, and that's kind of cool. Looks like I've killed all the enemies, so this floor is secured. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to that central elevator. So I have a new map here. haven't gotten very far in this game, but I'm guessing there isn't a lot of graphical difference between areas because it is set on a space station. Ugh. Fighting large numbers of enemies is a little dicey, just because the control is a little bit awkward. This is one of those games where the AI is smart enough to head right for you, but not smart enough to open doors. It's a good idea not to get surrounded. Oh. Okay, so that guy's dead. I still have all these other characters to select from, though. However, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I think you get the idea here. Again, this is zero tolerance on the Sega Genesis. Technically, it's impressive that they got this running on the Genesis hardware. Visually, this is fairly weak, I would say. You know, the short draw distance and the very small view screen are kind of disappointing. But still, if all you had was a Sega Genesis and you didn't have an old computer, this was, you know, not a terrible game. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.